Hello everyone, in today's video I have a Madam Glam swatch video for you. I just recently got these 4 colours in the mail. This first one here is Bad Mood. This one is a pinky, rosy, browny, red pink. It's a very autumnal or fall colour. I think this would look great on a lot of skin tones. All of the polishes that I'm swatching today are quite thick, but that is probably more to do with the fact that my room was quite cold when I filmed this. They all apply really nicely. This one is pretty opaque after 1 coat, and 2 thin coats is definitely enough for full opacity. You can't see the white of my fingernail at all. There is pretty much no shrink back at the free edge, even though I'm not even using a proper base coat. I'm using a peel off base coat, which can cause shrink back, but there is no shrink back. Overall, this is a nice colour, nicely pigmented, great for autumn and fall nails. If you're about to head into fall, it's a good one to pick up. I'm about to head into spring, or I'm in spring. I don't know the season. Anyway, it's a gorgeous colour, and like I said, I think it would look really nice on multiple different skin tones. Let's pop this off and get on to the next colour. The next colour we have is 5th Avenue. Now this one is an interesting colour. Again, probably quite an autumnal fall colour. At the moment on my camera it's showing up quite bright, but I'll try and adjust the settings so that it looks more true to colour. I would describe it as a mustard yellow, maybe a bright mustard yellow. It's a yellow with a hint of orange in it, really, that's what it is. It's also a little bit muted. It's a really nice colour, a little bit less opaque than the last colour, but still full coverage after 2 coats. Again, no shrinking from the free edge. This one I think would look nicer on darker skin tones than myself. I think on myself, I don't know if it's because I'm pale or because of my undertone, I don't think it's a colour that I would wear on its own, but I would use this colour in nail art as an accent perhaps. I don't think that this colour suits me that much, but I don't know, let me know what you think in the comments. Still a really gorgeous colour, and I think this would look good on a lot of people. I think it's quite an on-trend colour as well. I think this would look really nice with like a khaki green and florals. So again, that is 5th Avenue. Not sure if you can see, but it is slightly less opaque than the last one, and I maybe could have done with another thin coat. But overall, I think this is pretty good coverage. Let's pop that off and get on to the next colour. Next up we have a nude polish. This is Envy. This colour is actually quite similar to 1 or 2 of the shades that I made in my previous video, which was making custom skin tones. I ordered this like a month or 2 before I even thought of making that video, so coincidentally it is quite a similar colour and a lovely nude colour. Again, this is nice and opaque. You can see you could get away with doing 1 coat because it's a nude. It doesn't apply streakily, so you could just do the 1 coat and leave it at that. But I of course applied 2 and it is full coverage. I'd say it's a fairly neutral nude. I wouldn't say it leans too far warm or too far cool. Maybe slightly on the warm side, but I would still describe it as a neutral nude colour. It is on the lighter end of nudes. It's not super light. I think this is a really versatile colour and I will find myself using it very often. So here are the 2 colours that I made in my previous video just compared to this Envy colour. I just wanted to show you that it's kind of in between my 2 favourite nudes that I made in the last video. But I would love a slightly pinker version of this colour as well, more like the one on the left. So again, that was Envy, gorgeous nude colour. Let's pop that off and get on to the next colour. If you're curious for swatch videos and nails I don't want to keep on for too long, I use the peel off base coat. The next colour is Pure Energy, and this is the only glittery polish that I'm swatching today, so I thought I'd show you that in the bottle. It is a gorgeous, a rose glitter. I wouldn't say rose gold, it's definitely more rose than gold. I guess you could describe it as rose gold. I feel like rose gold is a different tone for everybody. Everyone has their own version of rose gold, and I wouldn't be upset if someone described this as rose gold, but it doesn't have that yellow hint that I feel like rose gold has. It's definitely a pink rose colour, but not a bright pink. I guess maybe it is a rose gold. I don't know. What do you describe as rose gold? It is a little bit more difficult to apply because it is quite a chunky glitter. If you just brush it on, you'll find that the larger chunks don't disperse nicely over the entire nail. So I found the best way to apply it was to brush on a initial layer, cure that, and then almost dab on a second layer that's a little bit thicker. Because of the way you need to apply this to get full coverage, it can make the nail a little bit thicker, but not noticeably thicker. I wouldn't say that that would bother me at all. You can still see through slightly, so I would still recommend putting a similar color underneath, like a pink or a nude, which I will show you in a second. This is the only one that I did 3 coats of in this swatch video, just because after the second coat the nail wasn't 100% smooth. The coverage was pretty good, but it wasn't 100% smooth. So I did go in and do a 3rd coat just to smooth it out, and also just apply a few little bits of chunky glitter to areas that I felt like needed it. It is an absolutely gorgeous polish. Just takes a little bit more work to get the coverage that I would want. It would be absolutely beautiful just over the top of another color if you wanted like a hint of glitter, but if you want a full coverage glitter, it is a little bit harder to work with. Still definitely usable, but I don't want to trick you into thinking that you can get full coverage really easily. It is going to be a little bit more effort. So that is Pure Energy all on its own, absolutely nothing underneath, just my natural nails and Pure Energy. 3 coats of that. It really is a gorgeous colour. I guess it's the nude of the glitters. I'm going to peel that off, and I hope that you can tell that this peely, is that what you call them? This peely nail thing is a lot firmer than the other ones that I peeled off. So I personally think that if I was to use this and if I wanted to get a full coverage glitter, I would put down a similar base. So I've just used a blue sky one because I don't actually have a similar base color from Madam Glam. Something with a little bit of shimmer to disguise if there are any blank areas. This way, when you're applying the glitter, you don't have to pack it on quite as thick. If there are any areas that don't have the glitter on, there is a colour underneath to cover your natural nail, so you won't see your natural nail through. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense. I feel like I'm a bit rambly. But I did 1 coat of the shimmery nude polish, and then I'm applying the glitter polish on top of that. And I thought I'd show you it over another colour as well. This is over a dark colour. This is the first colour that I swatched in this video. So you can use a darker colour. It's going to change the tone up a tiny bit, but you'll see in a moment that the base colour that you use underneath doesn't affect the overall colour of the glitter if you're going for a full opaque glitter look. The only way that the underneath colour would affect the overall outcome would be like if you put a blue or a green underneath your pink glitter, then it's going to change the overall look. But as long as you've got a underneath polished colour that is a similar tone to the glitter, then it's really not going to make that much difference. I will compare the peelies in a second so that you can see what I mean about the flexibility of them. So there you can see on my ring finger and pinky finger I have the darker underneath colour, and on the index and middle finger I have the lighter underneath colour. There is really not that much difference between the two, so this is another great option to use if you don't want to go for the 3 coats of glitter. Because of course another thing about 3 coats of glitter is it's harder to remove if you're soaking it off, so the less coats the easier it is to remove. Glitter can be hard to remove at the best of times, so anything you can do to make it easier on yourself is good. So here you can see at a little bit of a further distance that there isn't that much difference between the 2 colours, whether you've got a dark base or a lighter base. I'm just going to peel these off and then we'll look at the colours overall and I'll give you my final thoughts. So these first 2 colours, gorgeous colours. The pinky rosy red colour is slightly more opaque than the yellow mustard, but they're both really nice and opaque in 2 coats. The nude is very similar to these 2 that I made in my skin tone video, which was my last upload. Just maybe a slightly warmer version of my favourite nude, the one on the left, and a slightly, I guess it's slightly warmer than both of them. A really nice nude. So the glitter nails, you can see that when I press on the glitter peely, there is hardly any movement, whereas when I press on, say, the nude, it is really flexible. Just because, one, it's got 3 coats, but also clear gel tends to be stronger, I guess, and less flexible. Now this could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's all going to depend on you personally, because for me, I like flexibility because the flexibility means that if I knock them, it's not going to chip, it's going to bend a little bit more. But you might like that it's a little bit thicker and not as flexible because that might give you extra strength, but it is going to be harder to soak off. So you can see when you look at the glitter with one coat of color and one coat of glitter, it is much more flexible than the 3 coats of glitter polish on its own, but it is still not as flexible as the plain colors are. Glitter polishes are always going to be a little bit more difficult to soak off and just a little bit more, I don't know, I think I'm just rambling. I'm not sure if you understand what I'm trying to say. This is a beautiful glitter polish, it just requires a little bit more work. I mean, I can't really judge it on removal because I haven't actually tried to soak it off, so I don't know that it's gonna take a bit longer to soak off, but I would imagine based on the texture of the peelies that it would be a little bit harder to soak off than the colors are. That is something I will check in the future. Also in this delivery I did purchase the Madam Glam peel off base coat, peel off gel base coat, which I do want to try out. I just need to find some time to do a wear test. I'll just show you a zoomed out version of the glitter nails. You can see that they are pretty similar looking when you see them over a distance. It's only when you get really up close that you can see the difference. I would say that any of these options is really a good option. It's a beautiful glitter, a beautiful color, and it would go nicely with most of these colors here. Maybe not with the yellow, but the nude and the reddy rosy color are both good options to have with this glitter. So let me know, did you like these colors? Which of them do you like the best? And have you tried any of these colors? I seem to be terrible at describing colors. I need to work on that better. I don't really know how to describe colors. If you've got any recommendations for your favorite Madam Glam gel polishes, let me know which colors I should pick up next month. Oh, I should mention that shipping on these did take maybe 6 weeks or so, but I am in New Zealand, which is quite far away from, I think these came from New York, is that right? Madam Glam, New York? And we are in the times of slow postage. Well, I'm having issues with slow postage. I don't know if you are. But anyway, I guess that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any requests for my upcoming videos, please do let me know. I'm always happy to do anything that is requested. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!